Okay, recap for the 26th of February 2026. Okay. Um well, this day is basically one of the options that I said was gonna happen from yesterday's video, right? That the market would pump and then would dump. Why? Because it's just manipulated, right? Normal markets, our targets were these lows, right? Would go up, would go down. We might visit or not visit the gap, and then would dump from it. But these guys are so greedy, they're like, let's go clear all the highs in one day and then dump it back where the market should be at. Okay. And it's a whatever, right? Fine. I guess you can still manage to see it and see what they're doing. So as I said, explain that this was the target because of the way that we opened, right? These has to be the targets for the day, and we managed to finish it with the earnings. And after that, I was like, I'm not gonna count the closing, right, of this candle, right? What I mean by the closing is we did close outside our volume, I mean not volume, suspension block on the daily. It's orange shaded, as you can see. We closed on above that, right? So if we look at the daily here, suspension block right there, right? I closed the we closed above it, but I said I would want it to act like this day where it closed above this gap, right? And it does this. So like it's kind of, I don't know, like a mohawk closing against, right? It doesn't really count. And I'm only doing that because it was earnings for that day. Like you seen, it opened right below, you know, inside where it is, and it never even attempted or couldn't even trade to the high of the volume bounce, right? It got close to the high near the New York Open, but it did not get to the exact high, right? For me, that would discount this day closing above as just whatever, some little extra manipulation or whatever. And to be fair, it was earnings, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna count that with thingy, and I would still stick with the bearish idea because that's what I believe where the draw should be at least to get to these lows, right? That's what I'm looking for, and then after that, I could form another opinion. Gonna continue lower, right? I don't know. I'm gonna need the whole NQ chart, or we're gonna actually start reversing to go higher. So again, this confirms it, right? So when I jump down to the 4 hour, actually before the 4 hour, the only thing that could stop us, and theoretically we could go higher, right? There's nothing that could stop us from going lower. But what supports the idea is this SMT with the ES, right? ES is weaker, and like we tend to follow what kind of ES does overall with NQ, right? So if ES is going lower, more of the time NQ is gonna go lower. So I like this SMT, right? It's a good SMT, and on this, the only thing that would stop us is this 4 hour busy, right? So that's the only thing that I have highlighted, and the main idea for today was okay, get to all these lows. If we get to all these lows, then that means we're gonna go to the 4 hour busy, right? So New York comes. So regardless of we pushing higher or lower, right? That has to be the trade. You need to have a bias regardless of where the direction is gonna go, right? I can't tell you that I'm 100% aiming for these lows, but I did say in yesterday's video, this is not how the market is gonna go up. We're gonna come clean these lows, right? This is my exact words. The market that's gonna go be, but it's gonna be bullish, right? It's not gonna go up like this, right? We're gonna have to come clean these lows. So my what I expected initially would be, okay, maybe we'll do it in Thursday and Friday, right? We decided to do it Thursday, which means I'm not trading tomorrow because then I don't know if Friday is gonna bother to take all these lows out, right? So I'm just not gonna bother, right? We could just have a garbage day. So this did on what it should do, right? Like I said, I seen this in like terms of 15 minutes as a long accumulation, and this is manipulation, and we're looking for distribution after. That's what I said yesterday's video. So what does that mean? I'm bearish. The 4 hour, right, internal liquidity is right here on the most. This overnight setup sets up exactly like my right one of the models that I expect for 9:30 to open, and we're just gone, right? We're just gone, and we're gonna start dumping, right? Looking at the liquidity wise. Alright, it's not gonna have everything, so let's just pull this out. So we have one liquidity above, right? I'm not gonna count this because this was outside the hours. And as you can see, the rest is sell side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically 5, but let's say 4, right? And these are the external liquidities, as in daily targets, right? These are the model liquidity targets. These are just what the day should deliver to. Alright, so at this moment, like we zoom in, right? Forget about all this. 9:30, right? That's the candle. 9:30 goes through 1, 2, and like basically 3 liquidities. If we like talk about the initial, right? Sell side, right there. These little ones, they've already been taken, right? Like the run started earlier, right? And I'd say I do notice these moves more and more with 8:30 news days, right? Where it would start early before. So I'm gonna keep an eye to that. Right? I wanted to show pre-market, but my rules tell me not to. Right? I have a tendency to be sometimes impulsive and just cook the whole day before it even starts. So that's why I can't trade pre-market. I'm not allowed to do it as of now. But I wanted to show pre-market because I knew this is how it's gonna react, right? Our model allows me to enter, and typically this would be like a gap, right? And the way that it was forming, right? It opened, it went all the way this low, and we were about to close here, and then in the last seconds we ran away. If this formed as a fair value gap, and then the next candle went up, then I was gonna enter, but hey, missed it. Then it forms as an order block, right? Which comes down here, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, fine, I wouldn't enter on the order block entry. This model is not order block entry type of model, so it's fine. I'm gonna leave it. We visit a gap in the 30-second. I'm looking at this as a breakaway. I'm looking at this to be hit and hit the order block as well at the same time. You can see smack it twice, and then we'll start giving up the ghost. Not that fast, but it's kind of a high resistance weird way, right? In this whole thing, if there's a first presented fair value gap, right? Light it there, that would be nice, but then we'll get our first presented fair value gap down here, which goes outside of it, but then closes inside, so you know it'd be iffy stop loss wise, but there you go. Comes down, does the same thing, fills this gap, visit first presented but closes inside. Shows it's weak, and it's kind of dodgy here because it could have reversed, but just knowing what the day has done, right? You need to have the confidence that it's one-sided, right? Why is it one-sided? Because the way that it opens. If you look at regular trading hours, yesterday, the way that it opened, you don't want to go shorting into a day that opened like this, right? It's exactly the same. You don't want to go long in a day that opens like this. We're not even bothered to visit any part of the opening range gap. It means we're heavy, we're one-sided, we're just gonna go into that direction almost for the full day, right? It's always like this. It's almost always for the full day, right? Yesterday we went up almost for the full day, and today, yes, we had a retracement, but we are going down almost for the full day, right? Like this ain't nothing. Like the whole movement was down, right? So what I learned after many times, just do not bother on catching the, what do you call it, the retracement or the whatever, right? And just go with that trend. And your best bet is having your stop loss above the order block, right? Until a new one forms, it's the order block or the change is staying, right? So this order block, your stop loss would be here, right? It depends on the delivery, right? If I'm talking about this specific looking day, kind of looks like this. This your stop loss would have to be here once we get below, right? Once we get below on closing basis. So once this candle, the stop loss is safe above here. Technically, I would really want more. I would want a gap outside. So technical terms, if it's here, then here. I would count this as one whole order block. Then here, same thing after the gap, then it's here. Here, same thing, it's here, right? Here, same thing. Once we leave, and of course it's obvious that it'd be here, but you'd move it here because of how big this gap is. And then eventually you just play it out by just moving the stop loss lower and lower and lower while taking profits at logical targets. For this model there, this was the TP, right? Um, in terms of my trade, I didn't get any entry until this late, right? Because I'm just following my model. I know I could get an early entry, but I'm just because more time we're not gonna kill the 1, 2, and third liquidity before I get an entry. Most of the time, my entry is somewhere above here, and like I got range all the way till, I don't know, somewhere like here. And I know it's more likely to get previous daily low. So I never do have like runners or leave it, but I'm gonna like grow into it, into like leaving a runner or two for the full objective that I believe is gonna land, right? What was the full objective for me? When I'm just looking at the chart, right? I'm just looking mainly at this chart. Remember, this is just a big 4 hour gap, right? You can see I have two gaps marked. Well, one gap marked really. And where's this gap? Well, like if we want to stop for today, okay, if we want to stop for today and allow the, what do you call it, Friday to carry on, which is unlikely because we wouldn't take previous data low, but I'm just keeping in mind how big the range is, right? I said I'm looking at that gap, right? And you'll notice we run straight through it. What does that mean? These are gonna get hit, right? And what does that also mean? It's gonna get used as an inverse gap, as you can see, go above it, below midpoint. We're not gonna go above that until like we deliver lower, right? Or like our objectives. So I know them two things. I mean, if I didn't trade, that could have been a trade again to short, right? And whatever. Anyway, I'm looking at this gap, right? This obvious one below all the liquidity. We have used it, so I'm looking at the one that's lower, right? So I'm looking at the one in the 5 minute. What's been infilled right there? So to me, that would be my TP. The midpoint of this would be my TP, right? Like my final TP. Um, in terms of what did I take my TP? I don't even know. I think I had a number in mind. Today wasn't even like that bothered of just being right. As you can see, yes, we go slightly below it, but you know, 40 points almost. But it's enough, right? If if today presented my ideal entry, I know it'd be around this. So that would have been a nice 400 points, right? However, I got my entry down here. I think, and I held it for, no, I think, somewhere like this, right? Somewhere, right? I think I just went for the minimum, right? Knowing that it could do this, I just didn't have runners for it. I did not want to have runners for it. I just want to get out because the market has been garbage lately, right? Anyway, that's the market recap. I don't think there's much to explain for this day. It's just as simple as that. Only things that I didn't like is how fast we went down initially, right? I wanted us to slow down, but of course, after we're going that fast, we're gonna have to slow down because normally this day would be like fast, 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 fast all the way. But this slowing down is because how fast we went for all these initial liquidities, right? And yeah, this was never the day, especially like at 9:50, right? I'd say, yeah, it was never the day that was gonna reverse from this 4 hour gap. It just was never, right? It's blatant obvious, and the more and more that we keep this open, especially once we reach 10, that's it. It's a done deal. Once you're at 10 and you have an open range gap like this, don't even bother going against it, right? So right there at 10, that could have been an entry as well, right? Right there. Anyway, that's the market.